China has launched two major textile projects worth over $55 million in Egypt's Suez province, marking a significant boost to the local textile industry. The groundbreaking ceremony took place at the China-Egypt TEDA Suez Economic and Trade Cooperation Zone, a key part of the Suez Canal Economic Zone. The first project, led by Textile International Egypt, will build a 40,000 square meter industrial complex equipped with 18 spinning lines, more than 100 fabric production lines, and 6 printing and dyeing lines. Backed by over $25 million, it is expected to generate 500 direct and 1,000 indirect jobs. The second project, developed by F-TEX International, involves a $30 million investment for a 55,000 square meter facility featuring 60 production lines dedicated to draw textured yarn, a widely used polyester yarn. Once fully operational in 2027, it aims to produce 130,000 tons annually. Chairman Walid Gamal Eldien hailed the projects as a major step forward, emphasizing their role in boosting industrial integration, job creation, and Egypt's competitiveness in the global supply chain. This is just one example out of many Chinese investment projects that help boost the economy and create jobs for nations which the West would usually ignore. Let's dive more into this China-Egypt TEDA zone that straddles the Suez. The China-Egypt TEDA zone isn't just about factories. It's about influence, cash, and strategic positioning. Today we're talking about a Chinese industrial park in Egypt that has become a global stage. Back in 2008, Egypt and China teamed up to build what we now call the China-Egypt TEDA Suez Economic and Trade Cooperation Zone. Think desert, nothing but dust. Fast forward 16 years and it's a bustling hub with 185 companies, nearly 10,000 local employees, and over $3 billion of investment flowing in. But hold up, who are those companies? The big names include Jushi Group, the world's largest fiberglass maker, operating Egypt's biggest fiberglass production base right there in TEDA, pumping out exports and employing about 2,000 Egyptians. Then there's Zidian EGMAC High Voltage Equipment Co., a China Zidian Group venture focused on power gear and engineering services across Africa and the Middle East. We've also got Jinxing Ductile Iron Pipes Co., building a massive cast iron pipe facility aimed at producing a staggering 250,000 tons a year, with plans to expand to 500,000 tons to serve markets across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Other names include China Textile Machinery Co., Honghua Petroleum Machinery, and Dayun Group Motorcycles, all part of a cluster that includes new building materials, machinery, chemicals, automobiles, and more. Let's zoom out. Why does this matter? The Suez Canal is one of the most critical trade choke points in the world, handling roughly 12% of global trade. For China, about 60% of its exports to Europe pass through that waterway, about 10% of Suez traffic overall. So if you're Beijing, having industrial operations right near the canal makes huge sense. Today, China has stakes in major Egyptian ports, like East Port Said and Ain Sokhna. COSCO Shipping Ports holds a 20% stake in Suez Canal Container Terminal and has a joint venture terminal at Ain Sokhna under a 30-year concession. These link directly to the TEDA Industrial Zone and feed into the broader Suez Canal Economic Zone, which has expanded to over 455 square kilometers along both banks of the canal. Politically speaking, Egypt and China have built what they now term a comprehensive strategic partnership. In 2024, bilateral trade hit $17 billion, and Chinese investment, largely via projects like TEDA, accounts for a hefty percentage of foreign direct investment in Egypt's industrial zones. Egypt's finance and cabinet leaders describe this as a win-win model: technology, jobs, exports for both sides. But is it all smooth sailing? Egypt's economy has had its challenges: high inflation nearing 25%, declining revenues from Suez transit under pressure from Red Sea disruptions, and reliance on IMF loans and Gulf investment just to stay afloat. In that context, TEDA's push into textiles, energy equipment, pipes, chemicals, and even semiconductors gives a lifeline. For example, in partnership with China's Tsinghua Uni Group, Egypt launched a $300 million fund for semiconductors and AI in 2024, financed mostly by the Chinese side. Here's a quick before and after. When Ahmed Radwan, the CEO of Egypt TEDA investment company, started in 2008, TEDA was a desert, a dream. Now the zone has recorded sales exceeding $5.3 billion, paid nearly $300 million in taxes, and continues expanding. But bigger questions remain. With such deep Chinese investment and infrastructure, is Egypt becoming overdependent? Is China gaining too much influence in a geopolitically vital region? Some analysts point to the dual-use concerns, commercial ports and infrastructure that may at some point serve military or strategic ends. Yet Egypt seems comfortable positioning itself as a bridge between worlds. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Egypt is a sovereign country which chooses for itself. There's a reason why it prefers Chinese investment and partnership over the West's. Let me break it down. China isn't just selling products. They're investing in industrial powerhouses right next to the global trade artery. That gives them industrial leverage and even soft strategic muscle in the Red Sea Mediterranean corridor. Egypt gains jobs, exports, tech transfer, industrial knowledge, and tax revenue. Projects like fiberglass, textiles, electronics, pipelines, and energy machinery, all backed by Chinese funding and operations, help diversify Egypt's economy beyond tourism and oil. The zone sits at the crossroads of Africa, Asia, and Europe. Egypt's courting of Chinese capital, alongside ties with Gulf states, Europe, and IMF lenders, shows its strategy. Diversify partnerships so it doesn't lean too heavily on any one block. Many Egyptian officials and observers believe that Western partnerships often come with political strings or conditionalities, while China offers deep pockets and infrastructure with fewer political demands. That makes Beijing attractive to governments wanting investment without interference. And here's why TEDA matters more than just trade. It's hard infrastructure, roads, factories, power plants, and ports, built by Chinese companies like TEDA Investment, Zidian, Jushi, Honghua, Xinxing, Dayun, and others. It's also economic clustering, turning the area into a serious hub of industry across multiple sectors. It includes financial infrastructure, like the new RMB cross-border settlement hub, enabling Chinese currency settlement and export flows inside the zone. And finally, it's about reputation. Egypt and China are calling this a model of industrial cooperation tied to the Belt and Road Initiative. And TEDA's success is used as the flagship example. Build it, and they will come. Statistically, TEDA zone is now over 10 square kilometers of industrial area at Ain Sokhna, following a $100 million expansion deal in July 2025 to build more infrastructure. Over the last 3 years, Chinese investment into the zone has exceeded $4 billion, and there are aims to double that figure soon. So when we talk about TEDA, this is not a small side zone. It's a central pillar in China-Egypt industrial ties, part of broader Belt and Road logistics, and a strategic foothold near the canal. It's also a mirror of Egypt's economic pivot toward China as a partner it sees as reliable and non-political. To sum up, the China-Egypt TEDA zone has transformed desert into about 185 companies, nearly $3 billion in investment, $5.3 billion in sales, $300 million in taxes, and direct employment for 10,000 people. Major firms include Jushi Fiberglass, Zidian High Voltage Equipment, Xinxing Iron Pipes, China Textile Machinery, Honghua Rigs, Dayun Motorcycles, among others. Its location next to the Suez Canal connects Chinese exports to Europe, and China holds stakes in the region's ports via COSCO and others. It's tied to broader China-Egypt strategic cooperation, with bilateral trade around $17 billion in 2024, and major expansion of industrial areas ongoing. For Egypt, it's a lifeline. Jobs, exports, industrialization, technology, and a partner less political than the West. If you're curious where this goes next, expanding industries like semiconductors, AI fund programs, more high-tech, new energy and fine chemical manufacturing, and deeper ports industrial integration, that's the road ahead. China's TEDA zone is proof. Economic development and geopolitical influence can be two sides of the same coin, especially when the zone sits right beside global shipping lanes that power our world. If you found this video insightful, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.